Marvel has a massive problem right now when it comes to the nostalgia that they've created themselves. Movie-going audience adore this.
Welcome to another brand new episode of Undisputed Nerds. This is the light-hearted podcast where we like to give discussions, reviews, and recommendations sometimes of great comic book movies, TV shows, sometimes video games, sometimes even comics. Look at this, Green Arrow, issue 1 with a hologram. Ooh, fantastic. Add it to the collection. Anyways, I am Tangerine on because I am your captain of recommendations, Zane Taichou. And as always, I'm joined by the Gentleman Gamer.
Enjoy that visual, everyone who's listening on the podcast. Welcome in. Yes, hello, I am Gentleman the Gamer. Thank you, Zane. Thanks for that long-winded introduction. You did tangent. You went off on a proper little tangent there. I don't know what happened to you.
I was just in the moment.
You were in the moment. It was terrifying. I've never seen you. The eyes glazed over. Everything went dark. I don't know what was happening.
Some would say I was hooked on a feeling.
Oh. No, I immediately went to I'm Caught in a Trap, I Can't Get Out by Elvis. That was bad. Hang on, sorry. Hooked on a Feeling. That's what it is, right?
That's how it goes.
Yeah, good. Okay, cool. How you doing? You had a good week?
Yeah, not too bad, thank you. Not too bad. I can't even remember what I got up to this week. What did
I
you
know
get
what you've got up
week?
to. No, you and I both. Well, okay, so we'll talk about this. I'll be bitter on the show. I've already been bitter with you about it beforehand, but I'll be bitter on the show. You and I have been trying to get. So there's you and I have. Sorry, guys out there listening to this nerd chat, but we're also wrestling fans, and we've been getting tickets to go and see an arena show that's happening in Wembley for a company called AEW, of which we are both fans of. And I had the week of rage dealing with Ticketmaster. Other ticketing companies are available, trying to book tickets for this thing. And they have the worst booking system I have ever experienced in my life trying to buy tickets for things. It was atrocious because I just to give you an idea of why it's bad, guys. So me and Zane signed up for this pre-sale thing. So you register your interest and then they send you a special code and then you're supposed to log into the site and then you can buy your tickets, right? So it sounds good. Yep. It's all good, And the way that I had it in my head was they'll send you so they'll do the pre-sale and then they'll give you access. And depending on what order that you access in, they'll show you what seats are left in the arena and you pick your seat. And then that's it. And then you book your seat and you're done. You're sorted. So that way, anyone who wants to do a specific price range can do a specific price range. Anyone who wants to sit in a specific location can sit in that specific location. Jobs are good. But no. Ticketmaster have decided that in their infinite wisdom, the best idea is to randomly assign you 2 seats or however many reservations you want and then go, is that what you're after? And then when you say no, because it's front row and it costs £1,500, I don't want that, thanks. They then go, oh, do you want these ones? And you go, no, it's in the nosebleeds and it costs £25. I don't want that. And then they go, oh, sorry, you've refreshed too many times. Please rejoin the queue. And I think it's, I'm not going to swear this early on, but I think it's safe to say I lost my mind trying to get decent tickets, which I did then do. And then you lost your mind with it as well on the pre-sale. And then, but you've then managed to get better tickets than me on the general sale today. So I'm really bitter at you.
Which shouldn't work in any sense.
No.
Shouldn't work.
All that effort. All that stuff I did. My partner booked a day off work specifically today as her personal mental health day and stuff like that because her work affords that of her because they're a good company, and she was going to book tickets for me and I said no, don't worry about it because I'm doing the pre-sale. I wish I'd let her now. She probably got us amazing, better than your tickets because that's the benchmark at which now I'm bitter. I did say it's funny though, because it's I did say to you on the Wednesday when you told me, oh yeah, my partner's going to try on the general sale on Friday. I did say to you at the time, I bet you're going to get better tickets than you effer. I did say that to you, didn't I?
Something along those lines.
Yeah.
Something along those lines.
Yeah. I know you too well. So yeah,
Yeah.
gentlemanly bitter I am today. That's what I am. Gentlemanly and yet bitter.
Oh.
But no, other than that, it's been. Other than that, I just said to you as well. I've been experiencing Redfall this week, the diabolical Xbox game that came out.
Yes.
I'm very sad. They're in trouble, man. Like honestly, if Starfield doesn't, so for those of you who don't know, who are not followers of computer games or anything like that, there's an Xbox exclusive called Redfall, which is a vampire-based kind of looter shooter for up to 4-player co-op. And it's been touted for a very long time that it's going to be really amazing, and it's an Xbox exclusive, so it's a big exclusive for them. It's by a company called Arcane, who are a subsidy of Bethesda, so they're they've got some chops. They've made some great games, and it's just awful. There's no excuse for it. I'm in the it's so bad it's funny phase, but like it's just terrible. And Starfield is coming out this year, which is basically supposed to be the Elder Scrolls but space.
Yes.
And if Starfield and it's Xbox exclusive, and if Starfield does not deliver, I would say that Xbox is in quite a lot of trouble, because apparently Microsoft is not happy with the way things are going at Xbox currently. That report came out this week. So yeah, it's not looking great.
This week, we had the opportunity of watching a little film called Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. And we thought it'd be cool to give you our thoughts, our reactions, and just have an open discussion on our experience. I think it's fair to say.
I think we should definitely do that. But I think first, I need some kind of like tasty adverts.
Oh, yeah. That's a good idea.
Can you give me like a little morsel of adverts, and then we'll go straight into the main course?
Absolutely. Here's your appetizer. I'd like to thank the sponsor of today's video, Surfshark VPN, who have given me, now get this, 83% off plus 3 months free. So if you've been meaning to pick up a VPN, now might be the time. Surfshark is a trusted VPN to help you protect your privacy online. Whether that's protecting yourself from malicious websites, or if you're in a public Wi-Fi connection, you can keep your information locked down. Surfshark's clean web feature blocks ads, trackers, malware, and phishing attempts, allowing you to surf the web safely. Plus, it lets you change your virtual location. So if there's an anime on Netflix that's not available in your country, but say in Japan, guess what? You're in Japan now. You want to use BBC iPlayer to watch all of Doctor Who. So pick up Surfshark using the link in the description down below. Use code Undisputed Nerds and get 83% off and 3 months free.
Thank you, Surfshark. Okay, cool. So we're going to talk about Guardians Volume 3. It came out officially in the UK anyway on Wednesday. I have already seen this bad boy twice. So I saw it once on Wednesday with you, and I've seen it again today, as we record this on Friday. Yeah, we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna go into it. So I think, do you want to do? Should we do a non-spoiler and then a spoilery, or do you want to just go straight into full spoilers?
I think it's fair to do non-spoilers.
Okay.
I'll put time codes in. Don't you worry. I got your back.
Thanks, buddy. Thanks. Oh no, you were talking about them at home. Sorry, I just
automatically just the listeners and watchers, just in case,
I just realized you never have my back. Would you like me to do a quick summary of what the plot is, or do you want to do it?
Go ahead.
Are you sure? Because I know how much you like to struggle with it.
Exposing the business. No, go ahead. The floor is yours, sir.
So the last time we saw the Guardians, it was the Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special at the end of last year. We had the revelation that Mantis, spoiler alert for that if you haven't seen that. Why are you watching a show about Guardians 3 if you haven't? But Mantis is Quill's half sister, and the team now have Nowhere, the celestial godhead, as their base of operations. So coming into Guardians of the Galaxy 3, Quill is still, or Star-Lord is still reeling over the loss of Gamora, or the apparent loss of her, but then she's still alive, but she just doesn't remember anything about being a Guardian or their relationship, because it's past Gamora, who's now present Gamora. they're running nowhere. Things are going well. Everything's working out okay. But for some reason, some weird golden guy wants to mess around with them. So who is this at the beginning of the film? Well, it's Adam Warlock causing some big problems for the Guardians. It seems like he's been sent by those sovereign people from Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Remember those guys? The gold ones from all the way back in the day? And then, unfortunately, one of the Guardians gets very badly hurt during the battle, which prompts the whole team to go off on a mad adventure with a run-in with new baddie, the High Evolutionary, and hijinks ensue. So yeah, that's the plot of it without going into too much detail. Yeah, so you got all the returning cast members as usual. Everyone's back. Chris Pratt, Karen Gillan, Bradley Cooper's Rocket, Vin Diesel's Groot, Dave Bautista, they're all back. James Gunn, it's his last big hurrah before he goes off to revitalize the DC universe. Just a quick side note on that. He announced, I think it was yesterday or maybe the day before, that Superman Legacy is officially now in pre-production.
Ooh.
So he has written it and it is done and it is going into pre-production. So I would imagine within the next couple of months, we might find out who Superman's going to be.
That'd be interesting.
Right? Again, I said it last week. I will say it again. It's weird that I'm more excited about DC at the moment than I am Marvel. It's a very weird world we're living in, but there we go. So anyway, going back to Guardians. So let's do a quick rundown of kind of like, non-spoilery things. Performances in this. Was there anyone who was your particular favorite in this, either new or old?
Ooh, that's a great question. I think everyone really had some good acting chops in this one. Considering it's quite, at this stage, a bloated cast, isn't it, really? Because not only do you have the core members, but you're introducing new characters like Adam Warlock. Of course, you've got the villain as well. There's a lot to cram in this movie, as well as still serving good development screen time to the existing characters and stuff.
Agreed. Was there anyone who's, or do you want to think about it and you want me to carry on?
Well, I was just going to say, it still blows my mind how good Bradley Cooper is as a voice actor. Like, I know he's been doing it for 10 years now with this one character. And yes, I know he's like an incredible actor with whatever that film was with Lady Gaga and stuff like that. But
yeah.
He is exceptional. Like, he is just like unbelievably good with his voice acting and such. So yeah, I think it might have to be him, but at the same time, everyone else is just incredible. Like, everyone can go to that level to spark a emotional reaction out of you.
Yes.
Yeah. It's really amazing.
I agree. Bradley Cooper was the way he we'll get into kind of the spoilers of Rocket later, but like the way that he emotes through his voice and the CGI as well. I mean, the CGI is stunning in this. Like, it's so good. It's so well done. As far as performances wise concerned, I have to say, Karen Gillan as Nebula knocked it out of the absolute park with this one. Like, she was so good in this. I felt like Chris Pratt, this was a massive return to form for him. Yeah. Like, I felt so it reminded me why I fell in love with Star-Lord in Guardians 1 in the first place. He was really amazing in this, and I adored him. And I'm glad they didn't properly lean it, because I was worried. So right at the beginning of this film, he's kind of like sad about Gamora and stuff, and he's a drunk. He's getting drunk and passing out all the time. And I was really worried they were going to lean into that and just be like, he's now an alcoholic and he can't get his together, and Rocket has to hold the team up. And I was really worried about that, and they didn't go that direction. It was like, no, when his friend is in trouble, he's the best leader. Like, he's super competent and knows what he's doing, even if things are falling around down around him. I thought that I'm gonna butcher the name, and I apologize. I think it's Chukwudi Uji,
Mm-hmm.
who is the guy who plays the High Evolutionary, was
Yep.
fantastic as the
He's
baddie in
really
this.
good.
Just so horrifically sinister. Like there's no redeeming features about the guy whatsoever. He's just a typical mad scientist, like evil person who doesn't see like creatures or people as individuals, just sees them as matter to be molded. And I thought he was really good and really scary in this. I genuinely was creeped out by him quite a lot.
Just to add on that as well, considering he's probably acting against nothing or a ping pong ball
Yes.
for the CGI stuff, it was like a one-man show. Like, it was theatre.
Yeah,
It was
100%.
absolutely amazing.
Yeah, he's fantastic. He's fantastic. As I said to you on Wednesday, it was weird because I've been rewatching through. Well, I haven't recently, but I've been rewatching through Doctor Who, and I was on the second season of Matt Smith's run, and it's the one where he goes to America. So he's in America for the first time, and he goes to the White House, and Chuck Woody is one of the bodyguards of the president, and he's got like a 2-line speaking role in it, and I was like, that's the High Evolutionary. What's he doing? What's he doing at the president's table? That's really strange.
Doctor
he's
Who's
also
becoming the new Bill, isn't it? Really,
it is, but it's also interesting. Well, it's not just that, but it's also the James Gunniverse, because he is he's the guy from he's also in
Peacemaker.
Peacemaker. Yeah, he's one of the main dudes in Peacemaker. And it's just, yeah, they're all sharing the screen. They're all sharing everything. I don't know how much more we can really go into without spoilers. What do you think?
I guess the last couple of things to kind of mention: the pacing was great. The music was just amazing. The thing with this movie is it's very nostalgic for the other Guardian movies. It's of course sad. The jokes are well timed. They don't feel forced, a bit like Ant-Man was.
Yes.
Again, you've mentioned the visuals, comparing that to Ant-Man, night and day difference. And yeah, the music and everything was just fantastic. And I guess it's probably fair to say on top now, it was completely undisputed for me.
Oh yeah, 100% Undisputed. Like, this is I've seen it twice now, and after seeing it the second time, this is my favorite Guardians film. And it's I'm not exaggerating, guys, when I tell you, and we'll get into it in spoilers, but it really pulls you through the emotional ringer. This one, like, this one was like I was genuinely almost in tears throughout most of it, because not throughout most of it, but like at the parts that I should have been, because it's like, I'm sad that this form of Guardians with James Gunn and is not going to be again. Like, we'll never see it again. And also for the content inside it was really sad at points. Would you like to know what the rest of the world think about this?
Yes, please.
This film, in terms of, so we said we were going to talk about this beforehand. We'll talk about the Rotten Tomato scores. Now, me personally, I genuinely, well, actually, no, you know what? I'm going to ask you, Zane. Where do you think, from a critic perspective, what percentage does this have on the critic score on Rotten Tomatoes?
Ooh, I would hope they'd be quite respect, like, take, I want to say maybe like a 73, 76.
Oh wow, you're well low on that. You're well low.
Yeah,
it's currently sitting from a critic standpoint at 80% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Wow. Okay.
So it's certified fresh. The thing is, right, that for me is low.
Yeah.
I think that's low for this. You know, I'm going to have a quick look at some of the other Marvel movies, but what will surprise you is the audience score of this.
Yeah.
So whilst I'm looking for Marvel movies, give context to that, I will tell you that the audience score for this was 96%.
Ooh.
And that is over 2,000 reviews.
In what, 3 days?
In 3 days. So basically the critics find it okay, and the movie-going audience adore this. And
Yes.
I agree with it. I legitimately think this was really good. To put it into perspective, Black Panther Wakanda Forever got 84%. Let's go back. Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness got 74%.
Oh wow.
We've had this conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Spider-Man No Way Home got 93% on a critic score.
Bloody hell.
That's an aggregate of things. So that's the certified fresh aggregate. I
Yeah.
think that this film, Guardians 3, is better than Spider-Man No Way Home.
I would agree with you.
Shang-Chi got 91%.
So I was going to mention Shang-Chi because before we recorded, we spoke about how good this was compared to the rest of the Phase 4. And the
Yes.
only one that I was kind of on the fence on
Is Shang-Chi.
is Shang-Chi. I
Yeah,
don't
that's
think
fair.
I don't know if it's a fair comparison because it's a first movie versus a third movie. So that's why I was kind of like more in line with Ant-Man 3. But
It is stunning when you look at this stuff because, like, listen to this, right? So this is so I'll take Phase 3. Okay, I'll take Phase 3 movies
uh-huh.
of the MCU. All right. So where does that begin? I think that begins at Doctor Strange, I want to say.
It's not Age of Ultron, is it? Oh no, I think you
No,
might be right.
no, I think it's Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
I think didn't Captain America or did Captain America Civil War start it? Oh no, Ant-Man started Phase 3, right?
Okay, cool.
Because
Yeah.
Age of Ultron was the end of Phase 2.
Yep.
Yes, Age of Ultron was the end. Okay, so let's just run through these scores for Phase 3, all right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'll try and do this quick. So Ant-Man 83% critically, Captain America Civil War 90% critically, Doctor Strange 89% critically, Guardians
Wow.
Volume 2
Yeah.
85%.
Oh.
Right? Spider-Man Homecoming 92%, Thor Ragnarok 93%, Ant-Man and the Wasp 87%, Black Panther 96%,
Mm-hmm.
Avengers Infinity War 85%, Captain Marvel 79%,
Okay.
and then Avengers Endgame 94%.
Right.
So average for that is in the high 80s. So
Mm-hmm.
of the movies across Phase 3, high 80s. And now let's very quickly run through Phase 4. Spider-Man Far From Home was the beginning of Phase 4.
Mm-hmm.
90%. It's a good start.
Mm-hmm.
This is movies. I'm not going to count the TV shows. Black Widow 79%.
Yeah.
Shang-Chi 91%.
Okay.
Eternals 47%.
Keep going.
Spider-Man No Way Home 93%, which I'm still shocked at. Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness 74%. Thor Love and Thunder 63%. Black Panther Wakanda Forever 84%. Ant-Man and the
Oh.
Wasp 47% critic score. And then Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 80%. This Guardians film, again, non-spoilers, is better than Volume 2. By a
Yes.
country mile, it is better than Volume 2. Critically wise, this should be exactly where the audience score is. I would put this in the high 90s. I really would. And I've seen it twice. And I've just seen it as well. So it's really fresh in my head. This was a great film, a really great film. And it doesn't deserve to be in the same area as Wakanda Forever, which does not deserve 84% because that was absolutely, well, in my opinion, it was not good. It was not good. I'm just really frustrated with this. Like, it feels like critics, I don't know whether it's just that they've gone off the MCU, but like you look at Phase 3 versus, it's just, oh. Then again, a lot of the Phase 2 movies were, you got Iron Man 3 was 79%. Thor the Dark World, which we always forget about, was 66%. Age of Ultron was even 76%. It wasn't great. So, but yeah, it's just wild. Anyway, do you want to go into spoilers, Zane?
Yes. Let's go into spoilers.
Sure. Is there anything else you wanted to talk about non-spoilery?
I think There was, but I can't remember what it is now.
Let's go with visuals. You're happy with the CGI in this? How did it look? How did it
Yeah,
feel?
visuals are great. I guess that from an experience point of view, I think this is where my thoughts were. It felt like I got more of an emotional reaction out of this, compared to anything in Phase 4. So this felt more in line
I
with
agree.
everything since Infinity War and Endgame and such. And this, I think this is it. What's crazy to me is like a couple of years ago, James Gunn was kicked out of the MCU. Like there was a chance this movie was never going
Yeah.
to be made.
Don't they regret that now?
That's the thought I've been sat with for the last couple of days.
Hmm.
Like there was a strong chance this movie was never gonna be what it is.
Uh, this led a lot of credence to my conversations that I've had with you before. Of
Mm,
Marvel has a massive problem right now when it comes to the nostalgia that they've created themselves,
yeah.
where these characters are so beloved and so
Mm,
well cast as well, so well cast that it's like, where do you go from here? What how do you the next Guardians film, if there is another Guardians film, how how do you do what lineup do you do? Like
yeah.
it's like presumably you do Will Poulter as Adam Warlock, you have, Rocket, Groot, maybe Star-Lord again, but it would how does it work?
Yeah.
Do you recast? Do you keep going? Because so many of these cast members have said they're not coming back. This is
Hmm.
again non-spoilers, guys. Before, so we'll tell you what happens in the film afterwards. But like, on the assumption that everyone survives, how do you, how do you bring them back? How does it work? And I think they're going to have a massive. This is what Marvel's going to have a massive issue with, because I don't think the characters that they're introducing, you know, Shang-Chi, as much as I love the character, he has
Mm,
not interacted with anyone in the main MCU right now. So I have no idea what his rapport, what his relationship is with people. There's no coming together. And I think that's one of the things that I love about not only the Guardians, but the Avengers as well, is that they feel like a mini family who
yeah.
would die for each other. That's the point of it. It's the little things, like them all eating
Mm,
shawarma at the end of the first Avengers film after they save the world, or when they have that party before Ultron turns up and they're all buddy buddy and hanging out together, and it's like
yeah.
they all feel like a family. Yeah, they fall out every now and again, but they're still a family. And it's the
Mm,
same with the Guardians. And like, I don't feel that for the current MCU lineup. You know,
yeah.
like it's so weirdly interconnected yet disjointed.
Yes. 100%. 100%. And it's just to expand on that a little bit more. Oh, man, it's never felt more disjointed as well. With there's so many questions. With obviously the introduction of the TV shows, okay, we know Ms. Marvel is going to connect with the Marvels, but then what about Moon Knight? How does Moon Knight connect with the
Exactly.
Avengers side of things?
Exactly.
Loki obviously doing the multiverse stuff, and we know that's going to pay off down the line, but we don't know how.
The more I've been thinking about this, actually, off,
Mm,
because you and I have had this conversation about, they'll do multiple Avengers teams, where there'll
hmm.
be the Secret Avengers and the Cosmic Avengers and all this other kind of stuff. I've actually thought about that, and I think what they're doing is, I think, well, this is my theory, and assuming there's some grand plan to it, which, let's face it, there might not be. I think there's still going to be the Avengers, obviously, as they are. So current lineup will be Thor, Captain Marvel, Doctor Strange, Spider-Man. Um,
She-Hulk.
hold fire on that. So
Okay.
Captain America will probably be in, because he's just has to be in because he's Cap. And then maybe Winter Soldier, possibly. I don't know. But anyway, some combination of that, right?
Hmm.
But then they've introduced, like you said, Moon Knight, Werewolf by Night, Man Thing,
Hmm.
all these other cosmic characters. I wouldn't be surprised if they do a mystical movie,
Uh,
Midnight Suns.
yeah.
So it'll be like a superhero team up, but it'll be mystical Midnight Suns. And then the Defenders, yeah,
Mhm.
okay, we know the Defenders as being city-based team, Luke Cage, Daredevil, Iron Fist, and Jessica Jones, because that's what the Netflix show was. But the Defenders have actually been many different things over time. Like the original incarnation of them was the Hulk and Thor and, you know, a bunch of
Doctor
other people.
Strange.
Doctor
Yeah,
Strange, exactly. So I wouldn't be surprised if we get like an Avengers, Defenders, Midnight Suns team, like
I
team up
see.
movies, or you know, maybe even a series. Like, you know, it's like they
Mm.
do a mystical TV series with Midnight Suns. That's one of my theories. I feel like they're building up towards bigger team movies, and that's where
Yeah.
the formula goes. But I mean, it's that CEO that was in charge of Disney before Bob Iger came back. He really est the bed when it came to you know, just quantity over quality. That was it. That was what it was all
Yeah.
about, and it really
Yeah.
damaged it. It's really hurt the MCU. It really has.
Yeah. It's. I know we're kind of being a bit tangent about, and we're talking more about the bigger picture at the moment. But one thing
It's because
I
we're
was
trying to dodge spoilers like there's no tomorrow. That's why.
I guess, yeah. But I just to kind of reflect on James Gunn's impact on the
Don't. I'll
MCU.
cry.
What I've been reflecting on the last couple of days is that in each of his movies, it's almost pushed the MCU along. So if you think back to Guardians 1, yes, Ronan the Accuser was the bad guy in that, but it was, I think it's like the first proper on-screen role for Thanos. Like,
It was, yeah.
because everything else had been like snippets and cuts, stingers prior to that. So yeah, there was that element. Guardians 2, I guess it's, you know, where they find Thor, and then that leads straight into well, it was meant to be, wasn't it?
Yeah, they find they have Thor in Endgame.
Mm. I think
Guardians 2 is all about ego and what Quill's like legacy is as a half celestial,
yeah.
which they really leaned into that, didn't they?
Yeah, yeah. But
That's why you see, this is the thing why it's like Guardians 2 should not be 85% compared to 3, which is 80. I'm sorry, that's rubbish. Guardians 2 is so forgettable.
yeah.
It's, you know, I can barely all I remember is Mantis is in it and Nebula turns into a good guy in it. That's all I can remember about Oh, and Kurt Russell is you know, handsome and a genius.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of one of those things, really. He set up Adam Warlock for Infinity War and Endgame.
He set up Warlock for 3, yes.
But weren't they planning on using Warlock for Infinity War?
No, I think no. I don't think they ever planned on using him. There were rumors of him being in it because he's such a main. Because he's such a. I could be wrong on this. Feel free to write in and correct me, guys. But I think everyone just assumed Adam Warlock would be in an Infinity War because he's such a main player in the comic books.
Sure.
Because he's the one. You know, him and Nebula are the ones who stop it basically. You know, stop Thanos. But no, I don't think he was going to be in. It was never confirmed he was going to be in it. It was just a rumor, I think, circulating at the time.
Right.
I think that, you know, the plan was always to introduce him in Guardians 3. But the ball had already been rolling, I think, too much for the Thanos showdown at that point in time.
Right.
You know, because then you could argue, oh, they were going to introduce Silver Surfer as well and all these other characters, but you know that never played out the way it was supposed to. But yeah, I think that we've dodged enough. I think we should probably get on to spoilers, shouldn't we?
Let's do it.
Yeah. So full spoilers for Guardians 3, guys. Zane, how many people die in this?
Including the flashbacks?
No.
Then 0.
That is correct.
Guardians.
Nobody dies.
Yeah.
Nobody dies. But my God, so having watched this the second time, James Gunn's definitely playing with us, man. Like he was playing with it a lot. There are multiple scenes in this where Guardians almost die. You know, off the top of my head, there's a couple of scenes where Drax gets shot full in the back and in the chest, and you think he's dead, and then he's not. Quill gets frozen in space. And it's like, he's definitely dead. And then no, he's not. And then there's even the subtle ones where like I've noticed every time Mantis would fall like from a great height, he has her land on her head or neck every single time.
Yeah.
And then she's fine.
Brainbuster style. Like,
yeah, it's like full on like and then and there's a scene with Nebula where it's like she kind of looks like she's going to sacrifice herself and then doesn't, which was like so yeah, nobody dies, which was nice. It was very refreshing for me to have nobody dying, because I really was going into it assuming that Rocket was going to die, and then he doesn't, so that's good. Yeah, so I mean, the main MacGuffin of the story really is Rocket gets brutally injured, and then he's going to die, and he can't be operated on because he's got this like weird kill switch thing on his heart. And then it's revealed that he was created by the High Evolutionary as a way to, well, experiment basically with how to evolve creatures and what to do with them. And that's how Rocket was born. So the High Evolutionary has the kill switch code from the species that he's catalogued. So that's the main MacGuffin, is the Guardians are going after the High Evolutionary to try and get this code off of him.
Save Rocket.
More kind of spoilers to that. Adam Warlock was sent by the Sovereign, who are the golden people that you see in Guardians 2, who were also created. That whole species, that whole line was also created by the High Evolutionary. And that's why they follow him. And that's why Adam Warlock goes after the Guardians specifically. It's not just a random occurrence. That is specifically why it happens.
It's so refreshing that this isn't a story about saving the world or saving the universe or saving the multiverse. It's a story about saving a friend. And really, it's a race against time, because, as you say, he's mortally wounded and they need to do everything in their power to try and save him. But it doesn't stop the film, again, having time to breathe, telling a few jokes. You know, obviously every interaction is almost like a joke between the team and stuff. And that's what sells the movie, because everyone loves all these characters mixing. But
not in a stupid way though. Like, because there's you know, because you say the interactions like are jokes and stuff like that. It's not like it's not a forced thing where it's like, oh, insert funny joke here, and that'll be a witty, funny. Let's look at a Tony Stark jokey meme thing and put that in there. No, it's like it makes sense with the characters. Like the way that Drax has no ability to understand sarcasm or any metaphors or nuances or anything like that. He's just blunt as a blunt as a spoon. You know, and it's just, and he's kind of a dick. I'm sorry to say, like he kind of is sometimes. Like I could think of a thing where Quill's upset and he offers him a Zagna, and then Mantis is like, I want a Zagna, and then he says, well, there's none left, and then he just blatantly eats the last one right in front of her. It's like, wow. But yeah, I mean, like I think the thing that separates this as well a lot, like you said, it's not, the stakes are different. They're not saving the world, they're saving their friend. And that gives it such an emotional weight, especially as we haven't had any for those of you who have read the books, you kind of know a bits about Rocket's origin, but like we've never really had like a definitive thing in the books, in the film, sorry, as to how he was made. It's always been this big secret. And the most heart-wrenching part of all of this film is the flashbacks to his origin. Well, in my personal opinion. So we see him being we don't see him being created, but we see his time when he was a young raccoon and then developing into what he would be, in the torture and the horrible experiences he went through, you know, in the High Evolutionary cages and stuff. And the friends that he made, you know, I think I'm pretty sure either in Guardians 1 or 2, he mentions Lila, or Lila comes up somewhere in the topic of conversation. I'm sure of it. I'm sure that there's a reference to her previously, and he won't talk about it. Um,
Maybe.
maybe
I
it's I swear it's this thing that he said, or there's
mm,
been a reference to her, or it's written somewhere, and they're like, "Who's Lila?" And he's like, "I don't want to talk about it." And then you see who Lila is in this,
hmm
and it's really horrible. Like, it's just so
mm,
sad. Like, it's making me sad thinking about it now. Um, but like, yeah, I mean, they don't survive
yeah.
escaping. Um, we get basically the people who showed Rocket love and compassion and caring and were his friends when he was in this horrible situation, and then he, in an effort to try and save them, gets them killed.
Mm.
And that's what happens, and that's why he never wants to talk about it, and that's why he's carrying all this guilt and everything else, because he thinks it was his fault that they died.
There's the lovely sort of idea as well planted, that Rocket calls himself Rocket. He names himself because he wants to build rockets and fly with his friends into the sky,
Yes,
which is just an amazing like foreshadowing, because obviously that's what he does with the Guardians.
it
Um,
is.
I've seen a lot of people talk about the effect of watching this and then watching back every other Marvel movie. So
All right.
like if you rewatch Guardian 1's volume 1, I should say, and when he gets super drunk and
Yes.
he lashes out because Drax calls him a rat or something like that. It just adds more and more layers to it. And then the same with his argument with Yondu. And Yondu
Hmm.
says, "You're like me. You're hurt inside." And again, it just adds layers. And then
Yeah.
lastly, the best one I saw is Rocket lost his friends in this, and then he had to re-experience everything when it came to Infinity
Infinity
War.
War. Yeah.
He loses all of his friends again, and it's kind of like, oh my god, Rocket
Yeah.
kind of has that, and it's for 5 years as well. The snap lasts for 5 years, and it's just kind of like that's painful.
Yeah, there's I mean, a couple of things to follow on from that is that we finally understand why uh the High Evolutionary is obsessed with Rocket as well. We we
Mm.
we get it. We understand now. So again, spoilers. I don't know why I need to say that. We're in spoiler territory. If you're listening to this by now, we're in it. Of all the creatures that he's evolved and genetically modified and all this other kind of stuff, Rocket is the only creature who has ever had the gift of invention. He's the only one who could ever think and imagine and create. Everything else was just a root memory that was from a past time. So that, essentially all the other species are just replicating the same stuff that's been done already. Whereas
Mm.
Rocket creates new stuff. He literally he's a genius. Like, he's a literal genius when it comes to technology. And that's why the High Evolutionary wants him, because he wants his juicy brain. Um, but just following on from what you said there about Rocket losing people, that's the other thing that was really nice about this. And I kind of, I saw it the first time, and it really struck me the second time when I watched it today, was that
Mm.
Nebula is so much ingrained in the Guardians now,
Hmm.
post the snap, especially because when you think about it, cosmically, it was only her and Rocket who were left.
Yep.
So they were the only Guardians left that we know of. I don't know if Cosmo and Kraglin were still alive on Nowhere. We don't really ever know that, but regardless,
Mm.
it was Rocket and Gamora, and Rocket and Nebula, and the two of them were obviously grew very close over those 5 years, and you don't realize that until there's a scene where Rocket, he's been on operating table basically through most of this, and he's unconscious. Proper Rocket, anyway. Like, sorry, present Rocket, because you get a lot of flashbacks to his experience because he's having these visions when he's unconscious. But you get a scene where he's resuscitated, like he's come back and he's fine, and then Nebula's on the comms with Star-Lord, and they're talking, and then Rocket chimes in for the first time ever, and it completely floors Nebula, and
Yeah.
she almost cries. And then Mantis has to step in and say, "We want you to know we love you very much." And it's like, it's such a huge emotional thing where it's like you don't even because it's like you wouldn't even think about it, and then you realize these two were the only two left for
Yeah.
5 years in experiencing all that sorrow and all that pain, because Nebula lost her sister as well. It wasn't
Hmm.
just Rocket who lost people. And I just thought it was really nice. It's just little character bits
Absolutely.
like that
Yeah.
that stand this apart from the rest of the MCU, frankly, right now. Ant-Man did not have any of this.
No.
And I'm not saying Quantumania was a bad film. I personally, I'm not saying it was one of the best films, but I did not mind Quantumania. I think they made some very stupid decisions when it comes to, character sacrifice or villain decisions. But like, I didn't hate Quantumania, but this really is. There's like current phase
Yeah.
of movies, and then there's where this is, and it's
Yeah.
just on another level, man. It really is.
This movie, again, I think I may have said this already. It had so much heavy lifting to do because, again, thinking back to Infinity War and stuff like that, it had to fix the damage with Quill because a lot of people, say it's his fault that Thanos won and all that sort of jazz. But to have him, and it felt like there was so much like creative freedom with this as well. Because if again, just comparing it to Ant-Man, it really felt like Ant-Man was a knee-jerk reaction to kind of let's line things up, let's gear everything to Kang and everything like that, where this was just kind of like, this is the final curtain, say what you need to say, play with what toys you need to play with, buy Sylvester Stallone to be in this.
Yeah.
um
Yeah, let's run through quickly who the cameos are in this, because
yeah.
we said that there wasn't any cameos really, but there are quite a few cameos in this, but not out of place cameos. So so Sylvester Stallone's in this as that he is now running the United Ravagers, which I thought was interesting.
Mm,
It's not just a splinter group anymore. The Ravagers are all together and completely united, and Gamora is part of them as well now. Gamora is a Ravager; she is not a Guardian anymore.
mhm.
Which I thought was quite interesting. So he turns up. Michael Rosenbaum. How do you say his name? Rosen. Am I saying that right? Rosenbaum. Lex Luthor from Smallville
Yes. Yeah.
is in this. He's also a Ravager. Did you notice him?
Diamond Face.
Correct.
Yeah.
That is him. Yes.
Yeah.
Which I thought was weird. Nathan Fillion is in this.
Yes.
He's one of he's the chief security guard for the August Corporation, which is the corporation that basically funds high evolutionaries experiments and is like the legal face.
He's had a cameo in all 3 films now, hasn't he?
Yes, he has. Yeah. He has.
Amazing.
So a couple of kind of surprising people turn up in this, not necessarily cameos from a character perspective, but certainly from an actor's perspective. So James Gunn's wife is in this.
Yes.
As random lady who gets shot in the leg.
Mm-hmm.
Which I thought was funny. What's her name? That's going to drive me nuts now. I'm going to find out what her name is. I can't remember what her name. She's in Peacemaker.
Mm-hmm.
And then Danielle Melchior or however you say her name is in this as well. So for those of you who don't know the name, she was Ratcatcher 2 in the Suicide Squad. She is in this. Jennifer Holland, that's James Gunn's wife's name. Jennifer Holland.
Okay.
Daniela Melchior, I can never say her name. She's French. She's in this as like just a random admin lady who's in this corporation.
Mm-hmm.
Again, very good. But then Yondu makes an appearance in this as well.
He does.
Michael Rooker comes back just for one brief little scene. And it's nice. It's nice to see him. It's a good little inspiration for Kraglin. And then character cameo wise, I guess the big one is Howard the Duck's back again.
Yes.
Still on nowhere. Time. Yeah. Still on nowhere, playing poker. He's in it. I can't think of any other characters. I guess it's a cameo of sorts, but we actually do see Counter Earth. so the High Evolutionary creates like a counter Earth for his utopian society, and he puts all of his like animal people on it. And that's actually in this. They do visualize that and realize it, and it's that is somewhat of a cameo, because I don't think we ever thought we'd see it, in a logical way.
That's true.
It's not there anymore now. Spoilers, because he blows up. But yeah, that it's certainly there. Who else is in this? Anyone else that we can think of?
Not off the top of my head. I just want to get your thoughts on Will Ponter's. Is that how you say his surname? Polter.
Like a swimming pool. Poulter.
What are your thoughts on Adam Warlock? Because obviously, as you mentioned before, he's a huge character in the comic books, and this
I was saving
treats
this
him in
for
a different.
I was saving this for the what I didn't like.
Okay.
The only thing I don't like about this film, much like Guardians 1, I did not like Ronin's interpretation. I thought Ronin was terrible in the first one. I did not like Adam Warlock in this. And the reason why I didn't like Adam Warlock in this, so the comic books, he is the reason why he's a warlock is he's the guardian of the soul stone. He's the guy who controls arguably the most powerful of all the souls of all the infinity stones, the soul stone. He is entrusted with it to protect it from bad people. He's a main player in the cosmic Marvel universe, and he's not a dum-dum. And they made him.
Is it fair to call him Space Jesus?
A little bit Space Jesus-y. In this, he's a big old dum-dum. Oh, they made him good looking but dumb, didn't they? Oh boy. And it's like, I get it, and I get why they did it for the story. But like, oh dude, you did Warlock dirty, man. You really did. Like power-wise, he's great. Like that is how powerful he is. I mean, ultra powerful, ultra tough. He can survive being stabbed through the chest. Like, yeah, he's properly tough. But like intelligence-wise, and they kind of explain it away by saying that he's like Redfall. He's undercooked.
Yes,
he needed longer to bake in his cocoon. But yeah, man, I didn't like it. What did you think of it?
I actually really liked it.
Oh, you disgust me.
Yeah, I know. I thought, what a funny spin on it, really. I know he's kind of like, as we jokingly say, he's Space Jesus and stuff. And he's got this huge task and everything else. But when you take that away, because Vision and, Infinity Wars happen now and everything else, it's kind of like, well, what else can you really do with him?
That's a good point. It's a very good point.
And to kind of, without making him seem super OP and self-righteous and everything else,
I would argue he's still quite self-righteous, but yes.
Yeah, that's true. But not in the same way like some people interpret like Superman as like super self-justice and
like
everything
my
else. So yeah, I think, and he has some amazing sequences in this. Him trying to save his mum. I thought that was an amazing sequence.
That was good. Yeah.
Obviously, his introduction where he fights the Guardians was amazing.
Which is brutal, properly brutal. Even the second time back round, it's still really tough. It's good though, because you kind of, the argument is, would he actually have been able to beat them if they were all working in unison?
Yeah.
Because I noticed when I watched it back, they all fight him one at a time.
Yeah.
And then the only time that he gets beaten is when it's Drax and Nebula sneaking up behind him. So if they were all unified right from the get-go, he wouldn't have won that.
Plus, he got the jump on them because everyone was getting ready
Passed
for bed.
out.
Yeah. The last thing I wanted to mention, we got to talk about Swole Groot.
Oh,
the most Vin Diesel Groot there's ever been.
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess when we see him in like he's a teenager, isn't he, in Endgame? And then by this he's kind of matured into like a young adult, I guess. So he's like in his like, as far as like Groot age is concerned, I guess he'd be in his like 20s, like late 20s, early 30s. So yeah, he'd be like prime Groot. I actually liked I mean, should we talk about this? Do you want to talk about the stings, or do you want to talk about something else?
Yeah, we'll talk about the stings. Yeah.
Because it ties into it, is why I'm saying it.
Mm.
So we kind of see one of the end credit stingers
Mhm.
is like the new Guardians team, and they're on a planet kind of saving the world, and it's so it's Cosmo, Kraglin, Rocket, it's Adam Warlock, and the reason why we should also talk about that is that Adam Warlock seemed a lot more mature and intelligent
Yeah.
in the post-credit sting, which makes me think that it was a temporary thing, that he was stupid and he just needed to be around good people and kind of mature a bit. But anyway, Fire Lavelle as a young girl was in there, which is weird to me. I was like, okay, fine. But then Groot is Elder Groot. Like, he's like the Elder Tree Groot, as you see him in the comic books, when he's like properly massive. So he's like turned into a big oak tree. Which
Almost
makes me,
kaiju.
yeah, like full on kaiju. But like, it makes me wonder why wasn't he like that in Guardians 1? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't quite get it. But I mean, look, regardless, yeah, I liked Buff Groot, and I like that he can hide stuff on his body.
Yeah. It as I jokingly said, it felt like the most Vin Diesel version of Groot we've seen, because he flies the spaceship. He's definitely the enforcer of the group. Like, Quill takes Groot when he's doing his negotiations, and you know what I mean? He's kind of like not the muscle as much, but he's
So
like the Swiss Army knife.
what you're saying is he's doing it all for the family.
Oh, we got to say, after years, we actually understood what Groot was saying in the last scene.
That was great, wasn't it? What
a payoff!
I really liked that, because that was really good. It's like, because he just said, "I love you guys," but like, because I guess the idea is that we've followed these characters for so long now that we now understand Groot's language, so that you can actually understand what he says. I'll be interested to see if they do more with that, like if it keeps going. Do you know what I mean? If like in the next film, like you understand him perfectly, kind of thing. That would be quite interesting to see. Part of me hopes not, but also I could see them doing it. Vin's just like, "Do I get to talk now? Done it all for the family." But yeah. Excuse me. I'm trying to think of what else there is to talk about. I could talk about the second stinger.
Let's do it.
Well, so let's state of play on this. I guess we should talk about before we do that. The Guardians are not the same anymore, as we've just established. There's a new team. Nebula and Drax are on nowhere, establishing the society, running the city. Mantis has gone off on her own. We don't know where. I've mentioned the other Guardians already, and then Star-Lord goes back to Earth and reunites with his grandfather. And then the second post-credits scene is him eating his breakfast cereal with his grandfather, complaining about his, I guess, like uncle-in-law or something, I guess it would be, and doing the lawn mowing. But the most surprising thing that happens at the end of that is we get the sting that says the legendary Star-Lord will return. Now that is probably my most shocking moment of this entire film, because I was like, I legitimately thought Chris Pratt was done with this. Like, I really thought he was out. I mean, I'm assuming Batista's gone. I'm assuming Palm Clementif are gone. You know, I don't know about Karen Gillan, whether she'll come back. But, like, I really thought this was the final swan song for a lot of them. And they all survived, and they're all doing other bits. So I honestly don't know what's going to happen now. And yeah, the revelation that Star-Lord's coming back, I was like, really? So I don't know. Do you have any kind of ideas on what might happen with that? I don't know.
So I had a theory, which we spoke about after we saw it, which was, is it a case of Marvel have offered more money for him to stay or, do one more movie because they need a familiar face in the next Avengers movie or something?
That's
Maybe he's
that. Yeah, that was going to be my next question. Was, do you think it'll
Mm,
be a Guardians movie? Because they didn't say he'll return in a Guardians movie.
yeah. I've seen online people speculate that what if he's just getting his own solo movie or movies or, some sort of solo adventures, because that's happened in the comics, which is, fair enough. It's an easy one to kind of draw straws on. But
Mm,
this current landscape of MCU, it feels like they need him for
yes.
the Dynasty of Kang, the Secret Wars, the
I wonder if this is a way as well, because we obviously talked about you mentioned earlier on about him making that rash decision and Thanos being released because of him, kind of thing.
Mm,
I wonder if this is the kind of makeup situation with Avengers where he'll be the one to, this time it'll be Star-Lord that makes the sacrifice, like Iron Man did, and saves everyone, and that'll be the,
yeah.
just as him, probably just as him and Gamora are like getting back together, or him and Nebula get together, or whatever might be the case, he'll sacrifice himself to make the ultimate, the ultimate
Mm,
sacrifice this time. I could see that happening as like a redemption arc from Infinity War. But I have to say, I mean, watching this, everything decision wise and everything like that from Infinity War, completely forgot about all of it. It was just so nice to see him,
yeah.
and to see him being Star-Lord, proper Star-Lord again. He's just,
Yeah.
it was just great. Like,
Yeah.
even, I think one of my favorite parts of this film is when he goes with Groot to see the High Evolutionary,
Hmm.
to try and get the codes off of, well, basically he's going to kidnap a guy to get the codes off him. And like, he talks a load of smack to the High
Hmm.
Evolutionary. Then you get like a nostalgia callback to the prison fight scene where Rocket and Groot shoot up the whole place, but this time it's Star-Lord and Groot shooting up the place, and we get like an amazing like circular gun battle again.
Hmm.
And then it's a crazy Star-Lord escape where he literally jumps out of 1,000 feet window, and then Groot and him like basically parachute down. And it's just like, that's why I fell in love with Star-Lord in the first place.
Mm,
It's that kind of awesome stuff. He used to be a thief. He's actually quite good at it, even though he's sort of also a bumbling idiot. It was just great. I loved it. So yeah, I love this film so much. It's wonderful.
it's so good, and it's just to extend a little bit on that. Those extra, one-liners like calling the High Evolutionary RoboCop.
Oh my
Uh,
god, that
you
killed
know,
me.
when he tries to woo the alien lady, uh,
Yes.
and then the other one is where he was like, "I'm going to convince her with my heart," and then he gives like a
Like,
sob
I'm not that
story.
much of an idiot. Yeah, yeah, it's so
It
good.
turns off the security. It's those. That's what
Yeah,
makes you fall in love with Star Lord. That's his like,
exactly,
yeah. Um,
exactly.
they tie up every fan theory that was going with Guardians of the Galaxy. Obviously, the Adam Warlock stuff has been there since movie one. But
Hmm.
the other thing was, and one that made me pop was Jason. In the comics, that's Star Lord's real dad,
Yeah,
or Jay's son, as it's
yeah.
broken down to. But the fact that his granddad is
Leader
actually
of the
called.
Starjammers.
Mm,
Um, yeah. Oh no, wait. That's Cyclops, isn't it? I'm getting
yeah,
confused.
Cyclops dads.
Sorry, that's
Yeah,
my bad. Yeah.
space
Um,
dads.
yeah. I always get confused with Space Dads. Yeah. Jason Quill is, yeah, the granddad in this. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I'm
Mm.
trying to think of what else made me pop. There was a couple of other things. There was a bit when oh god, there was a bit in the cinema where uh oh, it's so annoying. Oh yeah, the bit, so that Rocket has a showdown with Rocket has a showdown with the High Evolutionary right at the end,
Hmm.
and he outsmarts him with some gravity boots that they established right at the beginning of the film, which I was like, that's nice. They did some foreshadowing there, I like that.
Hmm.
And then he calls him, and then he does the, because he's found out that his species is a raccoon basically, so he is a raccoon, and then he says the name's Rocket Raccoon, And then somebody in the audience today, a little like it must have been like a kid or something like that, just went, "Yeah, Rocket!" And I was like, "Oh, I love these. I love it. It's so nice." So yeah, all in all, it's an amazing film. If you've
Mhm.
just watched this without watching it, then what the hell have you done with your life? Go and watch
Shame
this
on
film.
you.
It's great. It's fantastic.
Mm.
I would argue that the critical score needs to be way higher than this. It deserves to be above Volume 2, because whilst I did like Volume 2, this is just a miles better. Miles better. And yeah, go and watch it. It's great. It's fantastic. And it is a proper return to form to the MCU. It really is. Which
Absolutely.
just as James Gunn leaves.
Yeah. Yeah. And it may not be the same after. Like,
No.
this is, I know we're probably going on a little bit too long now, but it made me think as well, the directors that they started off with, half of them aren't going to be there anymore. And this
Nope.
is like one of the last best ones that they had.
Yeah. I mean, you look at my favorite films of the MCU are basically, well, Captain America: Winter Soldier, Russo
By the
brothers,
Russos. Yeah.
they are now gone. Guardians of the Galaxy,
James Gunn.
James Gunn, and then Thor Ragnarok, and Taika Waititi is probably not going to come back either. Even though Love and Thunder wasn't that great, still, yeah, you're right. It's a crying shame, and we'll have to see where it goes, I guess. But again, I just got seeing this just goes to remind me how excited I am for the DC universe now, because oh boy, if this is an indication of what DC is going to be like in the coming years, I am very excited. Very, very excited. God, just imagine if we get like a Superman movie with this much emotional weight and cool action sequences in it.
I thought the same thing this week with
Oh,
this much emotional weight, because
like
Superman can be action packed, but it needs the emotion. It
you
needs
can't.
it massively.
You have to. Again, I'm not going to tangent too much on this. He is invulnerable. The only thing that can hurt him is a meteorite from his planet called Kryptonite. But emotionally speaking, you can hurt the hell out of the guy. Like, you can damage him so much. And there's so many things that can happen to him that will emotionally destroy him. And suddenly the conversation doesn't become about whether or not it's Superman is, invulnerable or not. It becomes about, is Superman going to kill us all? And there's so much to play with. There's so much to play around with. And James Gunn's the right person to do it. It's gonna be great, and I'm so excited for it. Like, I'm even excited about The Flash. Like, I cannot believe, and it wasn't written by James Gunn. It's had no involvement from him. But it's so weird. It's a weird placebo effect of like, he's in that universe now, and I'm excited to see where it goes, because DC is like some of my favorite characters of all. Like, honestly, the majority of books on this shelf, I would say, is probably more weighted in DC than it is Marvel. I can't wait, mate. Proper Justice League movie as well.
And we say this days after Zach had his SnyderCon.
Ridiculous. Hey, I can't wait to see. I can't wait to see how many full-on choke slams we're going to get on the Flash press tour, though. What? What are you laughing at? What?
Do you?
I didn't mention any names, Zane.
How many from this movie do
you want to get nuts? Sorry.
How many from this movie do you think will be in the DC slate?
The DC slate?
Cast members wise, yeah.
Pom Klementifel is already confirmed to be in there. Batista will be in there for sure. I guarantee Batista will turn up in there sometime. Are we just counting existing cast in this unit? I wouldn't be I wouldn't be surprised if Zoe Saldana turns up at some point. In it. Karen Gillan will be in it. No, actually, I'm not sure about Karen Gillan. I don't think Karen Gillan will be in it. No, strike that. I don't think she will be. Michael Rooker, because he's a good luck charm, so he'll turn up in DC at some point, because that's James Gunn's good luck charm. It's I'm on the fence about Bradley Cooper and Chris Pratt, honestly.
Yeah.
Because I don't know how much involvement Bradley Cooper actually had with James Gunn. I don't know how much of it he was with James Gunn. If he was with James Gunn, Bradley Cooper will definitely be in DC. He is somebody, and this is a hot take, so take it for what you will. He is somebody I could see as Hal Jordan.
Ooh, I like that, actually. Yeah. But do you think he's too old? No? Or
people still want Nathan Fillion to be him
with the white highlights.
Well, that's Parallax Hal Jordan, so no. But I think he would be great. I think he would be a fantastic Hal Jordan. Also, you say a bit older, they could always establish the idea that he's been Green Lantern before and it didn't go well, and then he's returning to it. Because in Rebirth, I think Hal Jordan's in his 40s, so you could easily do that. But yeah, anyway, that's a conversation for another time. Possibly the next time we do a podcast. Who knows? What would you like to hear us talk about next time, guys? Is there anything in particular you want us to tackle? Let us know. How can they get in touch with us, Zane?
You can email us, nerdsundisputed@gmail.com. Of course, you can follow us on all of our social media at undisputed_nerds. Of course, all the relevant links will be in the description down below. Do not forget to like, share, and subscribe if you're watching us on YouTube, or give us a star rating on your favorite podcast platform.
Lovely. You can get me on Twitch, twitch.tv/gentlemanlygamer. Thanks for asking, Zane. As well as on Instagram at gentlemanlygamer. And you can also find me on YouTube as well. Yeah, okay. Well, we'll be back, won't we? I'm not sure when, but we'll be back.
Yeah, we'll be back soon. Don't you worry. But make sure to subscribe.
On the medias.
Make sure to subscribe so you'll know when the next episode goes live.
All right, Zane, it's been a pleasure, and it's been lovely experiencing this movie with you.
Same.
And I love you long time, and I hate you for those tickets.
Anyways, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. I'll see you soon.
Thanks very much, guys. See you next week. Bye.
Bye.